Hello Tech Genius, I am Ravi. Have you ever imagined a place where learning is as dynamic as the technology shaping your world? Then here's a deal. With iMatix, you can make sure the learning is exciting, impactful right from the beginning. You have interactive sessions with expert-led courses. In the world of tech, from data science to cloud computing, it's not just about a session, it's about doing, building, learning by solving real problems. So let's get started. The assertion and all, we discussed the flow, how the circle of trust has been created. Today we will test it with one of the application, and let's show you how the assertion looks like when we authenticate, how this assertion got performed. We discussed all this flow yesterday. Now today we will perform the practical application of it. Now yesterday I have created one IDP and one service provider. IDP is the forged off right side. I'll show you again. You can give any name. I've just given the forged off right. They should have this name ID format list, persistent, transient, and all name ID value, map right here, mapper, authentication, context, assertion, processing, attribute, map, and everything. Once you create it over here, it serves it. This meta address IDP, we have artificial resolution service and single logout. I'll come to the binding. What is that? Redirect, binding post, binding right, everything. Name ideally, these are the by default whenever you create. These are the by default. Mappings have been done, by the way. You don't need to do until you are required to do any changes. And this is an IDP URL for this meta address right. This is by default once you create it, that they all edited automatically onto your IDP. And we have created one service provider Google on Google account with a name. We can get any one I just created with the one here. Entity ID could be anything. You can give the URL or you can give the single word name on anything. It's up to you what entity ID you want to give, right? These are things on a mighty here, the name ID format list. We have given the transient. I'll tell you what's the transient. Is the transient to name ID format. We give basically for R to give the limited user information in the assertion. I'll test it right now and I'll show it to you. I'm just showing you all the attributes over here. Authentication from text mix and everything. This is the SP. We have create services. If I go to, you'll see this Google meta areas. This single about service may my this service assertion consumer service. Here, this is assertion consumer service. What does it mean basically? Where when you read authenticate the application, right? Which application would be single sign? Hey, that application you give your name away, right? This one, right, is default false, right, and I given binding and location. I'll get a new one as well. I just created this for testing application. I had given the predefined binding and given the HTTP post, and the location is a light on chairs. You can change the URL over here as well, and I have updated it right. This will be the application where it will be single sign. I will give this location out there. We have done any changes. If we do the save changes, right, and I'm going to advance. This is the SP, URL they have and everything, like they have another proxy, the whole other by default things. Now once you create it, right now we have to test it how we have created IDP. We have created the SP. These are the two requirements to to perform the single sign, because IDP will authenticate the user, and then the other you did create the assertion and to the SP, and SP will then check the session. What's the session? create a circle of trust. We need to have this entity ID in our circle of trust. Answer: this is a circle of trust. This ForgeRock and Google account as our both entity ID are present in this circle of trust we have created, right? Now how we will test this one main question for does this one. We have this URL, this one where as you start with our obviously with our X for drug exercise E means for drug URL, and then from SAML to JSP IDP single sign on in it or GSP. This is a page where this is a URL which hits our service provider entity ID. We are giving this meta alias IDP, which is the meta alias becoming the ForgeRock one, where it's the identity provider, and give us SP entity ID, which SP we want to have a single authenticator, single sign on. From where this one, where I copied it, this one I copied it from. If you noticed over here and go to services, this matter there, this one I have created when I given them initially. The metal is there. You can give anything it's up to. You can give slash for 0 for anything, right? This matter is we have given, and I'm using this IDP when I hit this URL, and I have tried to an SP entity ID is a single provider. Entity ID, what with a single provider entity ID, this is a Google. This is the entity ID, this will the SP and enter this identity provider we have given, which give the assertion to the for this service provider. Now how well tested? Now I have created the URL on the basis of the application, on the basis of this as our entity provider. I have created all this. Any application with the all call it entity provider, right? It could be hosted and remote. Hosted is you created you from UI, right? From remote is basically is the XML file. Here we just put an XML file and it will create like this. All shoot whatever you create. I'll create one from my XML file as well to show you. But currently we are testing with the host it, right? This one easy saying host it if I create from the XML. If I have an XML file and upload it, and it shows as a remote. But now currently we are testing with the host treatment. We'll continue the testing with post it. These two applications we have, right? This one. Now I will try to test it. For before that one, we need to see our same as a similar session. For similar session was assertion. What you will do, you will and include a plug-in. Download a plug-in which is called a sample trace. This is a sample tracer. Whatever he requests you hit, it will save your request over here. You can easily download it from. You can just write it sample tracer, download sample tracer for Firefox, and it will be just, you can click on it and download it, right? I've already downloaded you can easily download. It will come as your plug in, and once it's plugged in you can just click it over here. It's open. See, whatever I hit, it's create all the sample links over there. But we can clear it now. Now if I hit with my URL, see I given this URL is alive. .gsp server is alive trying. That means it hits the my given URL for single sign on. And if I see now my seminar session, you see this post. Alright, this get that has been hit. I have this one and this post, and if I click on this post, you will see this parameters HTTP that have been hit and everything. This parameter server, the sample response post request, right? And then you will see this summer. This is the assertion that what I was talking about. This is a sample response. We will get in the form of assertion. This whole response is called the assertion that what I was talking about. Like this entity provider provides assertion for this summer to sign in, right? There's a session there. if you see the response they are created, which into what is the destination means. What's the application you need to sign on? It will be the easel door just that we have given. We can change it as well. I will show. You will give some other and we will test what will the issuer. Who is the issuer of this assertion? The forge right, because who's the for job IDP we have given right. If I show you over here, this is a for job, this is the issuer, because how this is this IDP issuing this assertion semi-success, and this is an assertion they have created same semester for job. They have created. This is a format of the session digest method verse algorithm they have been using and everything. What will be the signature value of this assertion, what certificate they're using, or this one, right? And now what's the name ID format we have given the transient. This is from where it's coming. If I go to the Google.com and if I show you this name ID format from there where it's picking this transient and name qualifier for your Caspian from Google, not before. All this is the assertion that they have to. What is the audience that all SASPU name? The Google by default, rather than know that default information, saw the session in their position. This is a sample response. Once you get this sample response, it means your assertion is being diverted to this service provider and he can able to locate if there is any issue. You won't see this sample response or it will be some kind of an error, right? Even if I show you something for an error, like if I remove this, let me see remove this transient. Let me see await and I'll remove this one and I see, and now if I test this one, let's see if I get here, is post right, let me pick up again. It's saying me server error right because it's not matching the conditions. Now it will require it, but if I show you the request now, it's given red. And you will see I'm not receiving any assertion because we have our now error. That URL that were given because our configurations are not correct. That's why it's giving me the error there. If you see my post to this one on this one is saying the saying assertion. They are giving me over here, right? If I correct it again, name ID, format this. If I hit it again and if I go to my XML one again, if you see this one, I am getting it again right. Assertion I am getting. Once you get this emotion means your ML exemplation is flow is working for that service provider, right? What is this? Basically this transient. Actually I have it in my nose. This is a fair what type of a federated identities is called a transient foundation, where identity provider can choose to communicate with a minimum information about an authenticated user with no account maintained. This is called a transient Frederick. This is what we are included for the user. This is called a transient federation. The identity provider cancel to provide the minimum information. If you see the assertion, you will see it's a very less record about the user. That's why I call the transient federation for this one, right? Any question on the cow, we are tested it towards assertion. Look like what's the thing? Any question till now for this one? Can I start my mission? Or you want to test it on your machine? You're saying yes, sure I can, we can try. I need to tell couple of few things more. I need to turn the session bindings. I'm sure your screen, I'll help you to then once we test it, I'll show that there's different bindings. That's just a minute, right? Did you understood right till now? I want to know like a little bit. But instead of Google, can I use it for Stockholm? You can give anything, just a minute. Let me share my screen. Can you give me the permissions, please? Sure, before that, I want to show one thing you can try too. We can test it right. Let me complete because I guess it's still here. I'll just tell about these bindings. I want to tell because I want to continue it. There's a part of it right. What are these assertion bindings basically? First, and you can test it first assertion binding. We have test you like a currently what we have shown is a post binding, right? They are teeth. What are these? A binary what the binding refer to like with similar protocol. We are using like that message as we transport it between various parties. Which protocol they are using in SAML. There are three type of bindings you can use like to transmit the messages between the identity provider and service provider like. First type of binding is post binding. Second is redirect binding. Third is the artifact binding, right? Mostly portion redirect binding are kind of little same, right? They have same reasons of messages. And the third is the artifact binding, right? What is the post binding? What we have currently just tested, that we have tested the post binding that commonly used for sending similar sessions, right? That I just showed you from identity provided to the service provider, right? If you see in my application here and when I was showing you the services, right? And where I showed you this binding post, one, right, this is the poor. We have tested the post binding, right? Because it was a service, the why when it's used, when the form is submitted, we are like sample messages to using I'll just use computer definition, but as when we need to send a sample message right to full form in a search channel to XML format or HTML format, right, to using an HTTP post request, what's the advantages or the data is sent in body post with the binding can handle a large amount of data. Right, large amount of data when we need to send for the user, like which of assertions we need to send the certificate, signatures, value and all the responses right to the service provider, right? Then we can use the post bounty, right? And what is the redirect binding? The redirect binding basically also using the same as suitable tab used for similar authentication. Request from service provider to identity provider, right? It's when we use the redirect binding. When data is not too large, the entire message is passing new URL. There's the redirect binding. We need to redirect the authentication request to the from service provider to the identity provider. And what is the third one? Third one is the artifact binding. What is the artifact binding? Where several messages too large means even, is large to larger, sensitive, but we don't need to show all these details, right? Like we have showing all these details, right? Somehow if our SP user or SP on a single any application, or I say I don't want to show these details in on this some ultra user or something, right? They can come up like, I don't want to show all these who's the issuer and everything. Some applications are really case sensitive, really sensitive application, right? Like banking application or any internal banking application, they don't want to show these details. Who's your issuer. That could be vulnerable to any hacker making hacker or something, right? If they have any information, they keep on trying and patch any small and details, and that could be potential risk for the any banking application, right? What it will be then? They ask then for that kind of applications. We use this assertion on artifact binding, right? Here I have written, instead of sending the full sample message, there is under reference token that called artifact, right? I'll show you right now. The receiving party then uses the artifact to retrieve the actual message. They use the series artifact advantages like provide more security by not exposing that what I am telling, by not exposing the full sample message in the URL, and also useful when you have very small, some large messages that can lead a small assertion. It could be like here, they could ask us to sign your authentication request, encrypt your authentication. They could ask us to do a lot of things. Right then, that's our assertion become bigger and bigger and bigger. To keep it minimum, we can use the artifact as well. Training, if I go over here and if I come and change the artifact binding and I update it, right? Now earlier I was using post. Now if you see I'm using the artifact, keep a note of it right now. We currently have this assertion, right? Right, this one come now. I'm hitting this URL again. I'm just hitting this URL and green now that can show into this one and the rest of second. Did I save the changes service is, and I didn't save the change, the artifact update save. I can now, I'll hit it again, now, if you see in this one I hate, write this one I hate now, and after that you get results. See, I didn't get any sample full one right now. It's given me sample art summon artifact. Give me the some unique ID. Now it works. It's still working. The sample application is still working, but instead of giving me this instead of giving me, give me this sample now. It's giving me only the artifact ID, right? I did. It's hiding all the assertion information, right? That is called a seminar to fight. That's what I was talking about. It is used giving this full instead of full sample message. It's give the small reference talker all the artifact. It could be the article binding when I showed you this diagram, right? Turning a user includes assertion, right? This artifact ID or the session, right? This iron cider artifact ID, this ID is either chooses that if you use the HTTP post, it gives you the full several message. That is the assertion in the XML form. If you are using the artifact, it using the give the artifact ID, that is kind of a token over here. Here also means your sample application is working fine. This I wanted to tell for the continued testing. That's how we kind of test it with this one, with this URL, with saying this IDP, a single sign on in a .jasp. If you want to see where this page comes, right? You see where all this JSP kind of links over there. If I show you a little deep, we need to go. If I find sure, if you go into the here Apache Tomcat, and if you go to the web apps, right, set point 4 was 0, and then you will see all these folder rights. If you go to the same 1 to 2 and just, you will see this lot of just pages. I am using one of the IDP as a single share here. This one, if you want to dig deeper and get one more information about this right, if you see this generally, when I hate this one, he did this Jasper baby to help us to test my application. This is in the internal code. If you want, you can look at it, but this is what we are generally hitting on. This one processing request to return anything, like you can't date anything because their internal page that they are using. If you want to have more from you, just want to read the code. What's the same as this link is metal? Yes, like they're using, right? We have given over here SP entity ID, right? Name ID policy and everything, what they checks, what the requirement basically. Basically, I am hurting this one depends. Whatever any JS page you hit right, you can easily. If you see other one also like sample to or to consumer.jsp, if you go to the application right here, if you see any other JS page I can't orange. Similar to Earth consumer session consumer.assertion, I've seen this one before. No JASPU, thank you. You removed it. But if you go and create any, and here you go, this is it in your one. If you see this consumer one, right, we're checking for any consumer once it will hit this similar to assertion consumer.jas file, and the same way we have for a single logout. You want to slow. There are two types like to be do yet. We are currently testing 8 single sign on, and there is also single logo, because if you log out from your system or something, it will log out. Your applications say all you are singles, like a single sign on. It's also a single log out. If you like do the single sign on with your other application, it could be also single logout as well. If you can log in with them for a multiple applications with a single set of credentials, you could also log out. Once you log out your main application, that then you can look it can also be log out from all your single sign on application as well. That is called a single SLO. That's called a single logout. I guess I'll see if I were to test it. This is like they are using internally. If you want to go a little more deeper, this is currently a first you're testing. We have done with the whole stream. I'll show you with the remote one as well, and with a couple of things. Do you want to test it till now what we are testing? Yes. First, do you have any questions? You understand it before you know. But I pushed again to the practical, and then we'll see. Basically, the ID first was the ID piece of what to. If you see my URL over here, I have tested the IDP's single sign, right? What's the difference over here is where IDP initiated this login request, right? Authentication request where I'm using this metal is, and then there is the single. If you see my this another URL which is single SP initiate single sign on initiated, right? Where the SP has been a single process, service provider initiated the request for the user to want to access main differences. Here IDP will initiate a single the same and single sign on process. Here SP will initiate the single sign on process, what we have currently tested there. The IDP initiated single sign. There's the difference between these two. You got the point? I'll also come to this one when we test this one. Currently, I'm showing you testing with the IDP initiated, right? This IDP means when you are logged in, right? You will application that will log into their ForgeRock dashboard, and then once you log it into your Forge job, then it will be asked to you to go to that application, right? Means you have to authenticate with your ForgeRock first, because once you test with URL, you need to log in into the single sign on, right? That's the IDP initiated authentication works where the SP initiated SS open and a user tried to access an application as we butter hasn't been authenticated by the IDP yet, right? If a user has no active browser session, the SG, then a single provider will redirect them to the IDP to request the authentication, and then the IDP will authenticate the user and create a similar session. What's the major difference is once you hit right this IDP initiated, first it will ask you to sign in to the ForgeRock. Once we have for your console, which are we currently doing, right? If not, then if a single has been initiated, like we just tried to access the application first, right? Then he has been redirected to the IDP that he has to authenticate the IDP at any case. But what would who will initiate it, right? Here IDP is getting. If somebody asks you what's a different, you just come and say, and this is the IDP initiated like IDP item. First user has to go through the IDP and then through all the sample process world, and for the SP initiated, the user first try to access the application. If he has any active session, then fine. If not, then he will redirect to the IDP to request authentication, right? First, you need to create an IDP and the service provider. Can I create a circle of trust? You can create a first circle of trust. You can give any name as it's not. Any makes any difference to it. Give any name you want. Now, currently that's fine. You need to create the entities. Then those entities we need to add in a circle of trust. SML, go to the entity provider. Entity provider. These are all leaders not required. No, not yet. Basically, you can add the description. What is the server? Word, the circle of it's up to you. For which purpose? Any description you want to add, you can add. Status should be active, that is currently here, and the T provider we are in, and salmon to writer service. You are a little well, I guess not an anything required. Click on it, but they're saying what the definition of it. You can read it. Can I go to the providers, entity providers, rain garden, and go to the, this one was straight. Here you need to this entity. ID means this is the IDP side or SP side, this one. It will decide in next matter alias when you create it, right? If you put a metalysis in identity provider, it will be created at identity provider side if you are here. I'm saying if you create a hair metal is, if you had metal is over here, then it will be identity provider side. If you had a metal is over here, then it will be service provider. What can I give you here in TD? Give anything you are saying, said first.com. You can give the sale first outcome and give the alias name this one. You want to trick it a service provider, right? Salesforce is the service provider. Is it correct? Alright, can I create IDP side here? No, you need to create. Are you getting service? You need to get a service provider here. The alias over here, you can give any alias like /Salesforce, like, and give the circle of trust name, because you have a carrier circle of trust like this, it can open that entity. ID will be created over there. In this case, entity ID, can I remove .com? These are you. It's up to you. You can put any names. It can put sale4.com. You can put any normal string as well. That's fine. This is also fine. Alright, can I create? Create, hold on, scroll down, come to the name, ID format. We need to make it the transient for now, initial testing. You have the receipt. We have look multiple name. ID format with the persistent transient email address unspecified. Right, and just delete all. Keep only transient over here. And I did all and oxa delete. Delete all is cheat second apart, only this one. No, we need to keep it. You can delete except all others. Can I delete 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 while you can delete it? You delete the first one as well. Resistance also. Yes, scroll down. That's fine. Save it. Save at the end. What is the transit means? Transient said that a federation like these are the earlier we have the persistent federation, transient fashion. Currently what we are testing, that currently testing with R, is the transient federation. What is done? It is try to provide a minimum information about authenticated use. When we have to give the minimum information about the authenticated user in our assertions, and all we use the transient federation, change is done. And now go to the second tab, a session processing, and it's fine, go scroll down. And that's why here I don't really need to do any change. Go to the next step, services. Here we have this metal is /contractor. It gives /Salesforce. That's, we will see if we get any error. Scroll down here, assertion consumer. Scroll down here, this one. Can you delete this second and third assertion consumer service? Can I delete second and third ones here? Delete it. Edit the first one. Click on edit, and here at the location, first let's test with the post binding. If you see predefined binding, make it the HTTP post. I get a post request. and change the location. Any location if you want to give. Change the location means for which application you want to do the single sign. Can I go to Salesforce? Come. You can try that. It depends. I don't know how much it's required. If it's a very large, then maybe we can get a shoe. Then we use to artifact. But that's fine. You can use it. Can I give here? Update make it the index 1, that makes in the index value 1. Updated. Now save the changes. Scroll down to say we need to create. Now we have created one service provider. Now you need to create a one IDP. There is Jake, I guess we do. If you see contractor / less Salesforce we have. That's what my here, right? Let's see if we get error due to that. Otherwise we will create a new one again. But let it keep it here. Go and create the IDP first. We need to create an identity provider. Circle of trust. No entity provider. Most it give any entity ID you can give for joke. The IDP was for IDP. We are using currently is for I don't the tab pro I, therefore you will see you slash. No, you don't use that because already have slash. That's what we did mistake last time. We give slice add into the circle of trust. Great. Oh, here can I delete third fourth you will address people keep all this. That's fine because IDP right here we can keep all this. Can I say genius or don't need any changes for this morning, particularly because it has all the default. One will go for us and go to, I just want to see this, go to the services tab. Once your services tab right, it's can you / contractor / for stock. Fine. Can you copy this metal yes into a notepad? Which one? Metal yes. No, better the value / contractor / for 0, that one. I know this one. Go above this one. No. I am at alias at the start. Go above. This is what alias. Copy that when do notepad because we need to use it bad. And I can give you the you are in. Let's see. Thank you that make you host. You can copy it right. Copy it here after meta L S instead of / IDP and the contractor IDP. I'm not going to this way to do this one as well. You end in metal yes instead of / IDP, give this / contractor / for 0. This first line you need to copy and copy again at least instead of / IDP here, complete, no, only / IDP. And you need to outchange the entity ID to google.com to the salesforce.com. what entity ID we are going to test, right? We are going to tell the cell first outcome, right? They copied from there. The spelling is different over there. I guess it's as you have written in your not here, not here. Go to your ForgeRock one copy from there. What's your ForgeRock? And you have 40. Huh? He's fine, right? Go to ForgeRock and solve where you have created the yep. No, not this one. This is that where you would like to single sign and you need to give the SP entity idea. Go to the entity provider, copy this entirely right. and can I hit you does your semi-trace and working also on incognito. You have in a heating via Google Chrome or Google Chrome in incognito. No dos semi-trace. Are you taking the from incognito window that I want to see? I don't your semi-trace. Oh, does it go to an end notification? 3 pin. Can you hit over here? Hit instead of a reiterate. Take it it's same as I said. Required right. You need to keep the login. He did. You're already logged in. It won't ask you to log in. That is what you're doing. It's giving you right. Wait a minute. Don't hit it. You're asking that. What's the IDP initiated singles different? This is the IDP. At first IDP is initiating because it has a user to authenticate to the IDP first. Now you can log into the new set. Yes, log into the new site. Click on that one. You are able to load in our area, right? As you see, from that one you are able to trying to reason to. It may be because the picture is very large, but you are able to hit that URL right. Now you see your sample page, sample tracer. Go to your semi-trace and don't open it from here. That will create a new one. No, you must have a few, but here not there, right? That's what my eyes. There is a reason you have copper and multiple. I guess single down, scroll down, which is the latest. Scroll down to the last. It will give the URL as well. Yes, I'm post. Do one thing, cancel all. You can hit the URL again. That's fine in the urine. Cancel all the salmon one first. Whatever. I'm sorry, I've all salmon applications. I'm all tracer opponent. Close all of them. Open only one. Can you only one open right now? Hit the URL again. Not this one. You need to hit the URI IDP URL that we are currently testing. Go back to the sample tracer. First, clear all the URLs. I clear all this URL. There is a clear option. If you see clear, I will let it be. Go to the URL from testing a plan URL. Copy this one and now go to your sample tracer, scroll down. I will let it be, scroll up little, scroll up little, scroll up. There is only put over there, put up, put one, scroll up, post. Click see the sample, go to the third one inside sample. You can see here which one you get this assertion you got right, and this is a for job. The who is the issuer. ForgeRock is the issuer because the IDP you have created the with for drop name right, and the assertion is created for this one sample tracer, and scroll down, is this assigned information. All this certificate has been generated for this one is a name ID for metering right, and name qualifier we have used, which is a service provider name qualifier.com. You use salesforce.com right. Transient MI decides not giving any user information right. It's keeping the user information hide all this flow. This is an assertion that we are getting. You are able to hit to the same level, right? Now this is you have done, tested the post binding, right? And now the same way you can test the HTTP redirect or HTTP artifact binding. Now if you go to your application, change the binding, only change the binding from post to artifact 9%. I know no knowing this is will be in a sale. Is this site service provider site? Go to services. You now a Federation entity provider sale for stress and go to the services. That's when you don't need to anything. Go to services, scroll down, and on our scroll down, come to the insertion consumer service. Now scroll down. Here you need to change here. Now you need to change the value. Go to the, you need to add it. The first one, this one, the post warning, updated to the artifact. What is the difference between these two? Differences between two is the post. Binding is basically when you're testing, right? It's sending the similar sessions that we are just tested, right? Basically, when we want to send in a HTML format or like XML format message to the identity provider, right? That was the post request, right? Can handle a large amount of data and all, but somehow now artifact binding. What that difference of ultimate binding? And you see in post binding we see the other details as well, who's the issuer, where the certificate has been implemented, right? And what does service provider qualifier name and when it got assertion, and write all this information, right? But in post binding, we get all this information in session. Anyone can easily see it, right? Any another user who is testing that can. I can get the same address and see what I'm getting in, similar like you did just now. But what artifact binding will do? Artifact binding will hide all full assertion. It will not send the assertion. It will just send that token instead of full assertion. The sample application will work single sign on flow will full work, but instead of giving all this assertion, it just give the token ID. If it receives the token ID, that confirms your sample application is working fine. There is a two-way to do it right. It depends upon which way the client wants. If we say no, I want the assertion, I will use it for my purpose, then we will give in the same. No, I don't need the assertion back to me, I just need a signing from the IDP. Give me the ID token. That will be in a phone. We'll give the artifact bind if you test it, and you will see that token would be generated in street offices. Now, did you save it first? Did you save it after John? Changes silver you and you click the save changes at the end, right? Yes, this is now hit it and I care you need to complete the full. I guess you haven't done. Now, if you see what the response it go back first, go back to the after hitting. I want to see, did you see the URL or something? You are able to see about first go before going. If you see the sample art that in your login you exceed the token seminar defect. It is several artifact and this is a token ID you are getting right, and go back. And now here you also. You will see the L in this one sample one. Red and orange, write anything you can in street. Now this one is like saying here is you say click on this and go about, click on above one, click on the above one. If you see over here is earlier you are getting old full XML format. Now it's just here's, it's got a source ID and nothing else. This also confirms your sample application is working fine, but it will not give you the assertion, right, with all those details. That's the difference between post binding and SGA artifact binding. The post binding will give you all the details, the session and everything, and artifact will give you the response code. And basically when we have a large assertion and you don't want to share those details as well, we could use that effect type binding instead of post binding. Yes, when I got it. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel.